ready to rock and roll. 5 minutes early today, so we're just gonna get stuck in. Just done some exercise, so I'm a little bit out of breath. Let's turn this wee bit down and see where we're at today. So it is part 3 of making a cutscene system. So we had successfully, after a lot of frustration yesterday, managed to get our cutscene working, doing 3 things. Actually, a load of things, but 3 key things. Well, so we've got pause the game, bring in black cinematic bars, fade to white, fade in an image, fade out the image, and remove our black bars and unpause the game. So at the moment, that happens very quickly when I press the button right here. Let's switch to our full screen mode so we can see. And boom. It's very quick. It's all over very quickly. I'm standing, by the way, today, so I'm going to be bopping a little bit because I can't help it. When I'm standing, I've got to shuffle. And I've got a coffee on the way. My wonderful assistant. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hot cup of coffee. So I've got a slight issue now with my green screen. What's happened there? It's just letting off a bit of light. I might shift myself over to the side a bit. That, shall we? There we go. Hey. Plus, staying out the way of the code. So, okay. What do we want to do next? I think we need some pauses in there. We're going to add some sound effects. We're going to do a few things. And if we look at our list of things we want to do, there's quite a lot of things. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on to, now, was it Free Music Archive? And we're going to listen to the complete Young Carts collection. I'll just turn this one down. There's a lot of stuff I've not listened to before on the old Young Carts front, so I'm not sure how well this will work. It might be a little bit loud, but here we go. There we go. Oh yeah. It always starts off with a laugh, I think, right? Almost every single song. Except this one. Oh, there it is. Wow, okay. Just turn this down a bit. Nice. Right, okay. So, left on our list here. So we want to be able to queue up narration. We want to recreate the tutorial initial cutscene. What's that? Recreate the tutorial initial cutscene. Oh, yeah. All right, so let me pull that up. Hang on a sec. This is the fun stuff. This is what we've been gearing up to do. Tutorial by Stephanie Mark. Here we are. So, she has kindly set out the tutorial in a sort of movie script method. So fade in the words chapter 1 goodbye. So we need some sort of not just narrative text but also credit text. So that's a good one to put in. Let's put that on our list. So oh, I added a couple more as well. I'd like some shake and some shader options, maybe a bit of distortion, some shake when we want it. What else have we got? Where is yeah, I suppose I'll put it here. Not just narration text, but full header text for credits or intro. That'd be nice. Now, I think we've got got a little slot for that. So let's fire up our project. Oh, there it is already. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There we go. Hopefully that's not too distracting. So we've got our cutscene object here, our scene, sorry. And if we reveal it, we have set up 4 containers. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, and 5. 5 containers. So we set this one up to contain our narration text. So let's set this one up to have some sort of header text label, some sort of intro big text. All right. Label, what should we call it? Let's call it titles. Yeah. Okay. And now our narration has some particular settings here. Fill and expand over here. You can see that. Fill and expand, and shrink center. Not quite sure why they're set like that, but I want to make sure that the same ones are set here, and they're not. So expand and shrink center, fill and expand. So now our title takes up the whole block, and now we're going to set the text. So we'll just do a little bit of text here. How's our narration supposed to start? Well, okay, I need to close some of these windows. Got all my trading stuff. What's that as well? Where are we? Tutorial. Chapter 1, a goodbye. Okay, so let's type that in. Chapter 1, a goodbye. Okay, and we want to make that center and center. Boom. So now we've got to set a big, nice, clean font for titles. Any suggestions? Let's have a look at most used title fonts for movies. It's going to be one. There we go. Here are 9 best picture nominees. And we'll have best guess for the title design. All right. This is 2018. I'll tell you, the standing up malarkey is pretty good. I've been getting a sore butt sitting on my ass so long, so it's quite a relief doing this. Right, let's see. The Shape of Water. So it's quite a vintage looking title. This is where, again, I think we need the graphic designer to come in and help us. But for now, we can come up with something clean. Get Out. It's a little bit too action movie, I think. Dunkirk's nice and clean like that. Darkest Hour's pretty good. We don't really want any sans fonts, really. It's a bit boring for this, I think. I mean, it's nice, but I don't know. It could work for sci-fi. Kind of like it looks like some sort of retro sci-fi, right? And I mean, you can't beat Helvetica New Bold, but I think you have to pay for that, right? I'm pretty sure that's like a paid font. Let's have a look. Oh, maybe not. Oh, looky. All I've got to do is download this. Oh, nice. We've got TTF. Is that going to do what we want? Let's just rename it to that and stop showing you all my documents. We're going to move that into the Godot folder. And where are we going? We're going into projects, Sfordio. So assets, and we're going to want a fonts folder. So let's create that now. All right, boom. So I think I did do this before, but I can't remember what we did. So let's see where it is. So it's custom fonts, then new dynamic font, then click the dynamic font, then go font, and then pull in the font from our assets. You can't see that. There it is. Pull it in here. There we go. So dynamic font, pull in the font, and we can adjust the space there as well. So we can make it a little bit bigger. So let's make it 24 pixels. Ooh, it's looking good. Let's make it 30 pixels. Maybe let's go for 50. Yeah, it's looking good, right? I like it. Okay, so our titles, we can put whatever we want in there. It's always going to fade in at 50 point, and it's obviously only going to support a maximum number of lines of 2. So we can't put too much in there, but we've also got this block here for putting in narration and subtitles. So if we need to do more, we've got other blocks we can use. We could also put other elements inside this VBox container if we want. So you can overlay after overlay after overlay. So all right, nice. Okay, so we want something to I think what we're going to do, let's have a look at our cutscene object. Let's have func set title. Yeah, and then pass in the text. And or even better, we could just have fade in title, right? And you pass in the text. Right? So it passes in the text straight away. Maybe we can have how long it's... No, I don't think we want to do that. We probably want to have some sort of controller and some sort of pausing for that. So probably going to need, I think, maybe another animation player for the titles. Okay, so fading in a title. What are we going to do? So is it always going to be white? Could it be black? Let's just assume it's always going to be white. I like white text on black background. I think that's strong. So that said, we do fade into white with the black cinematics, so that could look good with, you know what? I'm going to put color in here as well. There we go. So fades in title text in a given color. Right, I think you can just pass in like black, right, as a color. I think there's like shortcuts for it. Let's have a look. Color. Yeah, look. So you can just pass in a word. It's pretty handy. This is probably a lot louder for me than it is for you, but quite digging it. I'm going to pump up the volume for the tracks that I prefer. I've never heard any of these before, so I've only heard about 5 tracks. He's really good at just creating these nice little repetitive beats. Okay, so we're going to do next. We're going to create a link to... okay, we're going to have to create a new animation player, so... That flute sounds familiar. So we'll go for title animation player. So we're going to be animating our titles. And let's set up an animation. So we're going to create a new animation. We're going to call it fade in. And we're going to set a key. So how did we do it again? I think we just clicked on the box titles, set our visibility, where is it again? Visibility, yep. So going into modulate, we're setting it to not, we're setting it to opaque. Set the key value, create, and let's have a little bit of a longer fade in for our credit. Let's go for a full minute. Into white, and boom. Oh, no, and again, boom. There we go. Let's play that and see how that looks. Nice. Could even go a little longer, but yeah, let's go a touch longer. Oh, you know what? Let's go for 2 seconds. See how that looks. Yeah. I think that's the way it's got to be. It's, I think it's stronger to have that, you know, rather than just, the cutscene, we want that quick transition, but when we're showing things, we want them to read it, we want them to absorb it. So we'll give it more importance by having it prominent, center of the screen, and displayed for a longer time. So I think that's nice. Okay. Do we want any sort of easing? I don't know if you need that, to be honest. I never really used easing before with color fades. I suppose we could do. Let's see what happens. Seems a bit weird to put in there. See what it looks like. Yeah, I mean, you barely notice it, to be honest. But okay, so now we've got to hook into that animation. So let's copy this one, and it is going to be title animation. Here's the classic track. Turn this a little bit down because you probably heard it to death, right? Title animation player, play fade in. Right, that should work. Now we need to say what the text is, and we need to say what the color is. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to hook into titles. So $titles should, oops, wrong computer. $titles, no, titles. No, there it is. Okay, we're going to set the text to the text, whatever they pass in. Super. Now we're going to set the color. Same thing. Color equals color. And I think we're good to go. So we're going to fade in a title. Let's do it. Into our game script. I'm going to close these because we're not using them. All right, so our game script. So in this case, because we're fading into a white at this point, we're going to go cutscene dot fade in title. Oops, up in there. Fade in title, open brackets. This is a test, and I think you just pass it in as a string, right? Black, maybe. See what happens. We're no yield yet, so what I'm going to do is just comment this stuff out here, so it just stays on the screen once it's happened. Oops. All right, let's hit play. Didn't crash. It was a good start. Oh, wow. Okay, yep, I forgot to hide the controls. There we go. Play. Okay, here we go. And I think we got a crash. Label with invalid set index color. Okay, so you can't pass color in as like that. Like this. Black. I'm guessing then we need to go color string, yeah, black. There we go. That's what we do. All right, let's try again. Nope. Crashed again, I think. Invalid set index color. Oh, same problem. All right. Let's get out the old Godot manual. Set color to black. Okay, methods, color, open brackets. Wow, some good stuff. Oh, grayscale. Wow, that's cool. Inverted. There's some such cool stuff you can do. God damn, I love Godot. So cool. But I'm not getting the answer I want here. Let's scroll up to the top a bit. So it's saying color string from. Oh, constructs a color from a hexadecimal color. Godot using color enums, is it? Probably. It's not good. It's an error. String. Let's try that. I mean, obviously I can do this. It's not just color dot black, is it? Are these just examples then? No, it says constants, right? You know what? I think I know. Okay, so all I need to do, I think, is just that, right? Nope. Color dot black. Yeah. Ah, there we go. So it's a constant that belongs to the color object. So that should be it. Give us some titles. Nope. Invalid set index color on base label. Oh, it's not color. It's is it modulate? I'm having a guess before I try it. Guess not. Oh, it hasn't crashed. Oh, it did work, but it's white. Okay, no good. Oh, you know what it is? I think the animation I'm using, because I'm modulating the color, so I think it's because if we look at our cutscene here, our text, wow, where is everything? There it is, right, so yeah, we've got an animation on this, but I think it includes the RGB value as well. So by default, it's white. So what do I need? I want an animation player fade without the color change, or I've got to programmatically interpolate the alpha channel. Godot animation player transparency, not color. There you go. Yeah. That would have been nice, wouldn't it? If that's all we were tweening. Probably can get the tween to work for this. It would actually make more sense. I'd like to get to know tween. So let's try a tween, shall we? I said I wouldn't touch it, but I'm gonna use it. Okay, Mr. Tween. Let's see what you can do. So we're not gonna modulate that. Oops. Godot tween alpha. think we tried this one before, didn't we? Try it again. So, into our coding view. I need to remind myself to go into this coding view, and we need it. I think the lighting's back up there. I don't know what it is. It's doing that. It's just a little bit too bright. Maybe it's just not enough even light. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit better. And now I can't see diddly. It's way too dark. Typical. I don't know. Nothing's changed in here. It's the same old lighting as always, but oh, you know what? I'm standing up. That's the difference. I'll just have a quick tweak of the old filters here. See if I can get that to fade out a bit. Here we go. That might go a little bit funky. Ooh. Oh. That is not happening. It's just too bright up there. Maybe if I go over here. Oh, you just can't win, can you? I'll do. Just move myself over a little bit. Keep moving myself over that side. Alright, so... Oh, you know what? That's the difference. It's because I was in the coding scene. So I have done that earlier. Right, okay. So... we want to tween this particular node, the titles. So put in there. I'm going to tween the modulate. You know, it's the same problem. Whether we use tween or not, we're still modulating the alpha. So it actually need to like did the color black work? Yeah, I think it did. So I just need to put in like this, right? So in the game script, it's color.black, and in our cutscene, we just need but now I'm not modifying the transparency. I don't want to make this like into some big super utility function that becomes really hard to use. It's the only reason why I'm a little bit hesitant. I mean, we could, but I'm trying. What I want to do is make this user friendly, so it's not just me that ends up creating these scripts. I want, you know, staff or anyone to be able to go in and start creating these scripts, object scripts, character scripts, and so on. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as I can. Okay, you know what? We will have we'll have a black text. So let me just check that that's actually still working. Oh, need to hide the control. Yep, great. Okay, so we are going to use a fade in black here. Right, so then we can see the font come in. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay, so that could even be slower still, but anyway. Right, now we need a fade out title. So cutscene, fade out title. And also, we need a yield, cutscene, finished, text fade, title fade. Right? So I wonder if this is the right way to do it. Should I put the yields into these? The reason I'm not is because you might want to set multiple actions going at the same time. So you might not necessarily want to wait for each action to finish. You want simultaneous coroutines running at the same time. All right, so fade out title. Easy peasy, right? It's the same as that. You know what? Let's get rid of color because that's clearly not working at the moment. Comment that out for now. Fades in title text. Fades in black title text. We can create a, you know what? Fade in black title. That's the way to do it. And then we've got to create another animation. Yeah, okay. All right, you know what? That's the way to do it. Let's try to make it easy again. I'm just thinking we could pass in text and the word black or white. And then play a different animation depending on which one they want to fade in. I mean, you know what? This is such a crap way of doing it, but it does make it easy. I love the flexibility we get if we passed in like how long it'll stay up for, what color we're going to use, the font type. You know, we could do all sorts with it. But I want it to be. I like the constraint as well. Okay, so I'm going to rename this to fade in black. Okay. I'm going to create another animation. Whoa, okay, sorry. Get rid of color there for now. Oh, get rid of color there as well. We good? Fade in title. Already exists. Oh, right, sorry, yeah. This is fade out title. And we just need to play backwards, right? So, fade in black. Fade in black. Okay, so you know what? We will just pass in color here. Fade in title text. Color is black or white. Bit of a cop out, but. Okay. Should be good. Now we obviously still got to do our yields, but that should do it. So now we need to do an if here. Still using my brackets. If color equals black. Color dot. What is it? Is it lower? It's black. Just in case we mess that up. If color equals is black or color equal. Oh no, sorry. Yeah, color equals black. Then we that one. Otherwise, we this one. Cool. Should do the job. And then we got to fade it out the right color as well. Ah, so rubbish. Well, this is what it is, right? Okay. So. There we go. Oh, play backwards. Backwards? Backwards. Feeling a bit hyper. I think normally have decaf here, but maybe I've been slipped a real coffee. Okay. Fade in title already exists. Where have I got that? Oh, that's just still an old error. Stop that. Play. Yeah, super. Now we need to create our animations. So into our animation player, back to our 2D scene, show the controls. There's our titles. So we're going to create a new animation. So that's fade in black. And now we're creating fade in white. Okay, we're going to add a track. So we're going to modulate. And hang on a second. Oh, I got it backwards. I have, haven't I? That last one was fade in black. Oh, God's sake. Okay, so that's fade in white, right? There we go. Now we create a new animation. Fade in black. Super. Go to our modulate, change our color to black. Set key. Okay. And same as before. So was it? You know what? I'm going to go for 2 seconds. And make it opaque. And key. Cool. Excellent. Let's go to our other one. Set that to 2 seconds. Oh, it already is. Brilliant. Okay. Nice. All right. Oops. Duplicated it. Let's go to our script and if it's black, can fade out black. If it's white, fade out white. Black. Yeah, okay. That's good. So we've got to make sure we pass in the word black or white. So now we are going to go back to where we were. So let's put our fade in white back here. Now we're going to fade in title. This is a test. Actually, no, you know what? I wonder how you do a line feed here. It's probably like a /n, I think so. So we're going to put in the word black. And let's just do chapter 1 first of all. What was it? The goodbye. A goodbye. I'll try it. It's /n. A goodbye. Okay, so cutscene, fade out title. Fade in title, text and color. Let's just try that first before we do any of that. Anything else? Yep. Did it again. Play. Whoop. It doesn't like that. What is it for a lower? I've done it somewhere. I'll just check. _lower. Wonder why. Does it really need the 2? Okay. There as well. The reason I put that there is in case the user ends up like putting a capital B on black or whatever. So. Okay. So now error connecting the signal finished title fade. Yeah, because it doesn't exist. Finished title fade does not exist yet. So let's add that in. So we've got some signals up here. So we're going to add finished title fade. And while we're at it, we're going to have finished narration fade, right? Probably a few more as well, like finished narration show, finished playing audio. We're going to have a load of little signals set up here. Okay. So how do we connect it again? This is the test. So we go to node for our title. No, for our animation player. Title animation player, animation finished. Double click. Yeah, we're going to connect it to our script here. Title animation player, animation finished. Connect. There it is. Then we're going to emit our signal. Oh, it's finished title fade. So we can get rid of these. Get rid of these prints. Just clean it up a bit. Cool. All right, so that should now at least find our yield as well, right? Yeah, but /n doesn't work. But it's looking good. Oh yeah. All right, so let's have a look. Godot, label, line break. I got my backslash backwards or something. /n. Oh, I'm going to do a /n here. Yep. There we go. Sweet. Try one more time. Cool. Now, obviously, what went wrong there is the initial property of the text is wrong. So we've always got to make sure we clean up when we're done. And at the moment, the engine isn't cleaning up behind us because we are. The potential is that we can exit the script at any point. So what we need to make sure is that when we start the scene, in our cutscene, we need to make sure that all the relevant settings are correct. So let's just do that real quick. So we're going to set we're going to clear the text out. There's no text there. We'll set the text to modulate color, which said it's transparent, right? So 1,1,1,0. What else might we need to reset? Titles should be it. So now it should always be clear when we press the play button. Obviously it won't be clear when we finish, but we'll do that in a sec. So our end cutscene may want to fade things out. It may want to exit gracefully. Or maybe we just, what should we do? Yeah, why don't we, if they skip, we could fade to black, then fade back into the game and open the bars. Wonder how we do a yield inside this. Oh, it would be self, right? Be yielding to ourself. So we want to do a color fade. So if our cutscene ends, I'm going to wait until we get a color fade, and then we want to set the fade. So we're going to fade in black, right? Wait for that to finish. Then we're going to fade out color. And we'll clean out any text as well, just to reinitialize that. Put some little notes here just to make it easy. So clear out title, fade to black, fade back to game, unpause, and remove cinema bars. Now, we might want to not yield here so that it fades out as the cinema bars come back in. I think that probably be true, but we'll try it anyway just to see the difference, because that's what we want to do, is see how our coroutines work together. So, all right, and now I click. Ew. Oh, that was bad. Okay, so what's happened there? What's happened there is fade in black fades in from no other color, right? So we have a white background. So when we hit fade in black, it just fades in transparent, back to black, and then back in, right? So that's not good. We need to check what the state is. So is there an image? Is there... We could do that. It's probably an easier way though, right? You know what I've realized is fade out color doesn't work, right? Same problem we had before. It's fading in whatever the color is as well. Pain in the ass. So we've actually got to have fade out black, fade out white. It's a shame, eh? That's the trouble with image rectangle. I mean, background rectangle. Is there any other sort of opacity? Any other opacity control other than modulate? Trying too much here. Godot, change transparency of color rect, but not color. Yeah, so you can modulate alpha. That's the question we want 2 years ago. I'm afraid not. The first two parameters of interval are object and property. Color is in an object class, so you can't use modulate sprite module. Right, well, we probably could develop out a little bit. This is a messy way of doing it. But for now, I'm going to have to do the same thing. Fade out black. It's just, well, we're going to have to do this anyway, but I think I definitely want a better way of getting out the cutscene. I think what we might look for is some kind of, I know, why don't we have some sort of transition? Just like something a bit different for like a swipe or a flip or something other than just fading out, fading in, and black bars. Okay, so fade out black. So we need a fade in black, and we need a fade in white. The method fade out color isn't declared. Oh yeah. Where's that? That's up here. So we're probably not going to use these anymore. Just take that one out for now. I'll come back to that in a sec. And that one. Okay, so we've got to create new animations for our animation player. So hello to whoever's joined. Say hello in the chat. If you've got any questions, just ask. And if you haven't already subscribed, please feel free if you enjoy the content. So fade in black, here we go. So animations, we've got fade in white. So it's our color animation player. Yeah, so we've only got fade in, and it only fades from transparent to white. So I'm going to rename that to fade in white. And let's create a new one called fade in blick. Okay. Oh, 2 viewers. Oh, it's busy tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you're all having a good night. So we're just at the moment working on our cutscenes. Hey Graham, how you doing? Just trying to create a cutscene fader here. So we're just trying to make a cinematic cutscene for our game. Or actually, we're trying to create a framework for creating cinematic cutscenes. It's all very fun. How you doing? See now, we want to add modulate. So we want to fade into black, right? So we're going to change our RGB value down to black. We're going to set our initial value to transparent. Add a keyframe, create, fast forward to 1 minute, bring our alpha value up, and create another keyframe. There we go. Fade in black is done. So let's check our game script. Okay, so that should still work. Just try that real quick. See if we have any crashes. Oop, turn off the control. Right. Graham, if you haven't seen, it's an audio adventure. You can interact with things like the TV. You turn on the TV. It's a bit of Fox News in the background there. I'm creating a little sci-fi science fiction adventure game. It's mainly audio based, but it's kind of like a point and click, but it's more than a point and click. It's trying to create a kind of dynamic. I'm sure I talked to you about the concept before, but a dynamic audio game. So we're getting there. We've got locations, so we can walk into the lift. Got our lift music. Switch to press floor 2. And go into floor 2. Exit the lift into the R&D labs. And you can, we want you to be able to interact with characters, objects, whatever. So anyway, right, we can't leave, so I'm going to start again. See our cutscene now. Okay, cutscene worked, but our text didn't fade in. What have we changed? We are fading in our title, and we're yielding until our title's faded in. Okay. Fade in title. Pass in a text, pass in a color. Set the text. If it's black, fade in black. If it's white, fade in white. Don't see any reason why that should stop working. Nope. Okay. This needs to be fade in black. This needs to be fade in white. Okay. Don't know if that's going to make a huge difference. Yeah, well, apparently it does. Okay. Good stuff. Nice. So we got our intro. This is actually how the game will start, right? So our intro to the game will be fade in, chapter 1, a goodbye. Then we want to switch to Jupiter dominating a velvet sky, interstellar neighbors dazzling the black. A chilling silence for a few moments, then footsteps on metal and a woman's voice. I was actually going to have a go at creating this narration. If anyone wants to give me a hand, then we'll welcome. We have got auditions going on at the moment. If anyone wants to audition to do the voice acting for the first chapter, audition day will be Saturday, What's this Saturday, the 25th. So if you fancy doing that, just drop us an email. We'll have a look. I think we want to be quite all-inclusive. If anyone wants to help out, then you're more than welcome. If you're not a great voice actor, then we'll make you an extra. We'll have you talking in the cafeteria, or turn you into a talking vending machine. All right. So, what should we do next? I think we want some way of exiting our cutscene in a graceful way, right? So let's look at that. I'm not really very pleased with the way it cuts out. Maybe we need like another rectangle, another color rectangle that just fades out black. Regardless, it fades in over everything. Then once that's faded in, hide everything behind it. Fade out and open the bars. Oh, I'd really like to have a transition though. You know what? I'm going to have a bar slide across the side. Let's see how that looks. We'll just have something whiz in from the side. So let's switch to our 2D scene. Turn on our controls. Create a big background rectangle. Create a big ass background rectangle. We will call it big ass background rectangle. That's a color rect, right? There it is. It is small and puny. It will be big and fantastic. So let's do that there. Should we make it the exact size? I don't know whether it matters or not. I'll worry about that later, right? So we'll set it to black. And we're going to have it whiz across quite fast. So I'm going to create a new animation player. My God, I got a lot of animation players. We'll call this, what shall we call it? End scene. Or, yeah, end scene animation player. End scene rectangle. It's a bit of a mouthful. So, end scene rect. Change that to rect as well. Save ourselves 5 letters. End scene rect animation player. Okay. So we're going to create an animation for this baby. So let's do it. So we'll call it slide in. And we'll have it work in. Oh, maybe we could hide everything at the middle point. Do a kind of like a Star Wars transition. Maybe we should like, why don't we give it some rotation? Rotation. So, make sure we can cover the screen. How does the Star Wars one work? Has it got like that? Or is it top to bottom? I can't remember now. It's shocking. Let's have a look. Star Wars transitions. Every single wipe in Star Wars. Well, okay, let's see what they've got. Supercut. These are all the new ones. It's always the same. It's a pretty tacky transition, isn't it? You look at it over and over again. Okay. Come on, let's skip forward. Let's get some retro wars. Yeah, it's the same transition. Oh, that's a. That is a retro transition. Diamonds, circle transition. No expense spared on their transitions, right? It's a fast transition. Oh, a split transition. All right. Okay, I've seen enough. Don't know if I want to take inspiration from Star Wars. I'm gonna try a triangular left side, right side in swipe transition. See what happens. So we're gonna set the X position here. Happy with that X position. And now, oh, whoops. That should be here at 0. And let's just say it takes a second. Those were quite slow transitions. I was kind of surprised. So we're only going to move the X, so we can do that from here just by adjusting the value, right? Handy tip. That way you're not adding any up and down. So what I probably want though is, of course, I want the transition to finish. We can animate every element. This is the beauty of animations in Godot. We can animate every single element in this on the scene. So I could actually have, let's say the animation lasts 1, 2. Let's go for 2 seconds. So change our animation length to 2. And let's move this guy over all the way to the other end. So we go for minus 2000. Ooh, bit far. Minus 1800. A little bit less. 1500. Ooh, too much. Now, that is showing up under our current. So we need to move it right to the end here. There we go. Or we can also change the layer. That's the easiest way. Okay, just maybe a little bit more just to make sure that comes off. Right, okay, so our animation looks like this. Whoops, we never saved the keyframe, idiot. Okay, so what was it? 1650 minus. Yep. Keyframe. Boom. All right, here we go. I definitely think that could be faster. So they're skipping the cutscene because they're bored and they're impatient. They want some seriously fast cutscene transition. Even that still seems slow, but we'll try that. See where we're at. So at the halfway point, we are now going to hide all of this stuff that we don't want to see, right? So image rect, I'm going to go in there, make sure we've got a alpha value of 0. Keyframe. Boom. Image rect, that was. What else is there? Background rect. Set the, yep, so that was one of the problems we had. So we want to set that to 0 as well. And titles, let's hide our titles. Mess up our color as well, but hey ho. And any narration we might have is also going to need to be hidden. And keyframe, boom. All right. So now, if I were to turn all those back on, you'd see them disappear when I play it, but we can't do that yet. We haven't finished yet. So our animation is called slide in. I don't like creating 2 name titles for these. Keep the consistency in. So end scene rec animation player. You know what? I'm not even going to call it slide in. I'm going to call it transition. Transition. All right, super. Let's call it and try it out. So we are going to do this when they left click to quit the end scene. So end cutscene. We ain't waiting around. We want to call the transition animation, so we need to connect to our end scene object. Boom, easy. We want to play transition. Happy days. Now we're going to need to... Actually, do we need to yield? I don't even know if we need to yield. Clearing out the title is fine, but there's no point clearing out the title because we're hiding it anyway, so forget that. We clear it out when we start a cutscene anyway, we initialize it. What else are we doing? Fade into black. Don't need to do that anymore, right? Because we're hiding everything. So basically what we're doing is we transition out, but the black bars are still there. So maybe actually we need to... Black bars. Why did I do it? Maybe I shouldn't have had black bars in after all. Anyway, let's just try it out and see what happens. It's going to look a bit weird. Oops, still got the black bars in. There we go. Here we go. So, animation scenes playing. We're going to left click to skip. Woomph. So the major issue there is we've got no yield yet, so it's not waiting for anything before it swipes. What we want to do is wait for the transition to get halfway before we hide everything. The bars might work though. I don't know. We'll see it. Let's try it. So we've got to create a signal for our transition. So we're going to create a new signal. We'll call it transition finished. Yep. Okay. What a tune. What a tune. We can hear that, but it's interesting. Right, so that means we need to create a new animation signal for our end scene rect animation player. So we go up to node, animation finished, double click. We're going to connect it to this current script we're working on, and it's going to create this new method, end scene erect animation player. Boom. And we are now going to simply emit the signal. Transition finished. There we go. Easy peasy. So now we can yield and wait for it before we before anything else happens. So we start the transition and we wait. So end cutscene. So yield to ourself, our own script, until we get the signal transition finished. So we are waiting for this bit of code to... The method yield isn't declared. Is that because I've spelt it wrong? Yield? Yeah. So we're waiting for this animation to finish before we unpause the game and remove the black bars. Let's try it out. And also, while we're waiting, let's skip the cheapest sounding horn I've ever heard in my life from Young Carts. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here with our open source music. All right. Boom. And... Why? Why? Let's look at our left click. Where's our left click? Is it in cutscene? Yeah. End cutscene. So we end cutscene. So we play... You know what it is? I think our animation's setting... It's hiding everything. So when I tried to set things to be hidden halfway through, it's saying, you know what? Hide them now. It's not very good. What can we do? What we can do, we can have another function to hide everything, and just have the transition focus on being a transition. So the only thing is we need to have this center point where we hide everything within that transition. Let's look at our animation again. So let's, for example, look at our... you know what it is? No, I don't know, actually. So image rect. if I edit image rect here, go to our transparency and set it to full alpha. There it is. You can see our cheap, horrible image. Now, if I play the animation, it should disappear. No, it disappears right at the beginning. So, yeah. Why does that? Why can't we have a inherited value at that point? It's a little bit annoying. Okay, I wonder if we can fire a signal halfway through the transition. Let's try it out. So we'll delete these. Delete that, delete that, delete that. That'd be pretty cool. It's getting quite advanced now. Godot signal in animation player. Oh, looky, looky. You can add a call method track, insert a key at the design point, set call to emit signal. Wow, that's flipping so cool. Man. This, honestly, Godot is just so cool. Love it. I've been using Unity for ages. And I like Unity, although I've had some issues with, well, some of my projects. Just when they update, I've just found such a pain to migrate. So anyway, Godot is a refreshing change. Plus, it's open source. So, right. So how do we do this? It said we need to create a new track for a method. How do we do that? That I have no idea. Let's check. Go here. Advanced call func tracks. Create an animation player node. Yep. Animation. Yep. Position. Blah blah blah. Scene setup. Okay. Keyframes. Advanced call methods. Godot's animation doesn't stop here. If you're comfortable with Godot's scripting language, you know what you type, for example, wouldn't it be great to use these methods? Yes, it would. Click add track on the animation player's track control. Oh yeah. Call method. Beautiful. So we are calling a method in our cutscene. Pick the node that will be animated. Okay, we're calling, we're emitting a signal from our animation player, right? Oh, okay. Is it saying that we can, so when our, where is it? When our big box, what the hell did we call the box again? Is it, it's not background rect. Which one is it? I deleted it. Oh no, it's right there at the bottom. Idiot. Right. End scenes rect. So maybe what we're doing is we're saying call this function in relation to the position of this object. So we're going to set a keyframe here. Ooh, okay, let's have a look. Select the audio stream player, yeah, to reference the node. Right click the timeline where Godot should play and insert key. So we'll bring up a list of methods. Oh man, wow, okay, so insert key. So we want to call emit signal. All right. Now what? Okay. Do I need to click on that? Ah, there we go. Up here. Name, emit signal, argument count. So we need to set the argument. So we are emitting the signal halfway. So transition halfway. Let's try that. So now we've got to connect that signal, right? Does that mean we need to set up a new signal here? Because it's a custom signal, it doesn't exist. And then, does that mean we need to, because we're not able to connect anything here. Maybe it just works. Maybe you don't need to do all this stuff. All right, so you know what we'll do? We will do a yield. No, yeah, we'll do a yield self, and so we're waiting for transition halfway, and then we're gonna put that speech marks, and we're gonna print out half and full, just into the console. Don't know if that'll be a good test or not, but let's try it out. Oh, got to hide our control again. Oh, what have I done wrong? Oh, it's not in our. We need to make sure this is inside our control. Oop, not that far in. Oh man, how do I get it in control, but not so high up the... God's sake. So not like some little arrow I can press. Move down. Okay, you know what? I'll move it up here. And then I'll move it down, which is control and down. So there we go. So that should be not black. All right. Oh, Jesus. You know what's wrong with that? It's because our current position in the animation player is halfway. So I think that's what the problem is. Okay, let's try again. Yep. And better. That's pretty cool. I quite like that, actually. It's a nice little transition. We could use that actually as a... Because we've got a halfway signal, we can use it within the cutscene to do transitions inside the cutscene. So that's not too bad. Okay, so now we haven't actually... So what we were hoping to see there is some output there from the console to say, we're halfway. Sadly means that the cutscene signal is not working. Oops, where are we? There we go. So we're not even getting a transition finished. It's like literally not finishing at all. So what that means is none of these are getting called. We created a transition finished, right? Yep. I think this is a little bit more complicated than I expected. I'm sure we can work it out though. You can add a call method, insert a key at the side point, set it to call emit signal. What I seem to find is that, oh look, it's very useful. So to create animation in the game before it starts. That's no use. Yeah, what I found is whenever I do a yield, normally, so if I do a yield in one of these functions without connecting it up to the object that I'm waiting for the signal for, it doesn't work. I have no idea why. So if I were just to emit a signal without putting it in here, it fails. So in this case, I'm emitting a signal inside the animation. I don't know if it's something to do with us pausing, the game pausing. It's certainly down to my not entirely thorough understanding of the Godot engine. See, if I take this yield out, that transition finished yield will work now, right? So it's just the transition halfway yield that doesn't. Ah, look. Oh, so when you add the emit signal to an animation, we're actually getting the... Oh, no, wait a minute. I'm not looking at the object here. Let's have a look at our 2D editor. Look at the cutscene. End scene rect. Yeah, I was kind of hoping to see the transition halfway. Let's see if this works. So, receiver method, cutscene transition halfway, connect. Okay. So if we're halfway, we want to, we don't know whether we're hiding anything or what we're doing, right? I don't like having to put the code here rather than inside my... Okay, well, maybe this will just work, first of all, so... This is really weird. I'm sure we're just going to break the system. Yep. Got ourselves in some kind of infinite loop there. So we're basically bypassing whatever script might be on the animation. So it's not getting called at all. You know what? I hate getting stuck on little problems like this. Because it really doesn't matter so much. And I really want to focus on the areas that count more for us to get as quickly as possible to some sort of prototype. So, I mean, ultimately what we're trying to do is create this tutorial. So let's just have a quick recap of what we want to do. So we've got VFX, so we're fading in images, tick. Sound effects, we haven't got any sound effects yet, or narration. Then we've got character text. Now we have got our dialogue system. And pretty happy with the dialogue system. Obviously it needs to look better, but we could use that. I just don't feel like we should use it in a cutscene. I think we could do better. So yeah, okay, back to this. So we've got a bit of discussion. Myra says, your dad wants to see you. Player assumes control. So that's it. That is our cutscene. It's really just some dialogue. We do have players in the dialogue. And we're going to have the voice. So we could have like the classic little portraits of the people coming up as they're talking, which we don't need to do because we've got a dialogue system for doing that. So I kind of like the thought of just having the voice. That's much more interesting than the cutscene. Well, I think I don't want to finish it there because we're right in the middle of a problem. I hate finishing on a problem. What I want to do is make sure the code's working and then commit our code and sleep well. I won't sleep well with broken code. So how else can we do this? Let's just look, see if there's anyone else that's done this. So we want animation player, Godot, emit signal. How can I make the code to emit signal once the animation is complete? Don't want that. Animation named, finish it, no. Animation player, emit events. It's like a bug. Allowing animation, adding points to an animation will If you can arrange for someone to call add user signal on the animation player, of a script that uses the signal keyword to register signal. That's a shame. So it actually got closed. So maybe that previous post we were looking at was just theoretical. This is more recent, 3.1 beta. No, that's not the problem we've got. I mean, with the signals, the existing signals work fine. I think we need a better way here. Okay. So sod the transition halfway stuff. Sod the transition finish stuff. Well, no, keep that. Let's go back to our animation player. In our cutscene, show all our values. Okay, so we're emitting this signal halfway through, which does absolutely nothing. So, you know what? Rather than doing that, why don't we just actually call a method? Why don't we just write a method? Can we do that? Or do we have to call something in here? What about just call? Ooh, oh dear. Crashity crash. I'm just going to try creating a method here in the cutscene class. We will call it test. Doesn't do anything. Okay, and let's try again. So back to our animation player. Oh, we can see we've got a signal there. What's that? On cutscene transition halfway. Yeah, so we're going to remove that, disconnect it, ditch that, failed experiment. Super. Get rid of that as well. Okay. So we've got emit signal. Let's try and do this without it crashing. Call, propagate call, object call. So that will allow us to call a method that exists. Can we see the method test that we just added? Oops. No. So we should be able to call a method that belongs to cutscene. So let's try it. So now we need to click on that. Go to our inspector. And now we're using this in the object class, I think. Where are we dynamically calling methods? Okay, wherever we use pre-exit, enter, rand lift. Find in files, find. Nope. Okay. Do we not call that anywhere? Yeah, we must call that somewhere. Oh, of course, yeah, it's dynamically, it's tied to the exit object. So that's what we want to look at. Scripts, exit. Nope, it's not on the exit. Where on earth did we put it? Let's check out location. No. Player. Yeah. This is it. Wow, it's been so long since, it's only been 24 days today since we messed with this code, and I've forgotten how much we did. Pretty cool. Very flexible. I can't wait to start using it to build up more of the story and the world. So here we go. So on item pressed, we do a gamescript.call. We pass in the object function name and then a parameter. So if we go back to our So we're going to do it. We'll call the object function name. So where are we? In our animation player. Cool. There we go. I'm actually going to bring up the help here. Just make sure I'm doing this right. Cool. The method on the object. So if we are playing an animation, where are we going to be within the code? What's our scope? No idea. Maybe the scope will be part of end scene, which would be here, which would mean we want to call a script on the parent. Or we can add a script to end scene, but that would just be daft. I'll just try referencing dollar. You know what? Yeah, dollar cutscene as our object. We'll add another arg. Oh, what? Oh, arg count 2. There we go. And of course, now we're passing in another string, and the name of the method we're calling is test. I think that's right. So we'll look at our call function again. So the call method on the object calls the method on the object and returns the result. Call set position. Oh, bollocks. Okay. Delete that. And the reason I'm deleting that is because it's calling a method on itself, not an object. So we want to get a reference to cutscene at this point. Not sure if we even can, but because it's a scene rather, well, it's a canvas layer. But add track, property track, cutscene. Okay. All right. Yeah. Script. Wow. Okay. Now we're getting into unknown territory. Yeah. Script. Add a new node in here. Put it halfway. Ooh, wow, okay. Now we're easing a script property of cutscene. No, it's not what we want. Okay. So we actually we have to add in this method track. Pick the node that will be animated. Well, we're not animating that. We're going to try and call a method on cutscene. And insert key. Call a method. Oh, can we run test here? Yeah, we can. Right. Okay, cool. So that means we can just do whatever we want at that point, right? We could just add that to our script. So instead of having a test function now, we're going to create a hide all elements function. And it's going to do exactly what we did earlier. I shouldn't have deleted it all. So we're going to hide the background rect. We're going to set the modulate to have a color object of, doesn't matter what the colors are, but 0 alpha. So hiding that. I'm going to do the same with image rect, capital R. We want to do the same with titles. Nope, not that one. Dollar titles dot modulate. All right, and we'll do the narration as well. Box 4. function. I think that's it, right? Right, cool. So at that point, it's going to run this function, hide all elements, hide them all, so the transition will finish and you'll see everything without some big weird flicker. So now I need to hook it up properly. So I need to right click here, insert key, and hide all elements. Booyah. That's so cool. So you can basically create your own functions and execute them in a pre-made animation that you've created. So it's the powerful stuff. All right. Not sure this is going to work, but nope, I haven't hidden. Animation needs to be there, right? All right, we click. Ah, at last! Look at that. Happy days. Oh, we didn't hide the text. What's going on there? Oh, titles. What there? Try it again. We've got some weird state stuff going on there. We are modulating the titles to disappear. So why doesn't it not work the second time around? I don't know why that's happening. Alright, well, I mean, that requires a little bit of debugging. I'm just happy we've got it up to this point. So tomorrow, we are going to add audio. But for now, we're going to commit our code into GitHub. We're not going to commit this stuff that we're going to delete, which is like pictures of Jupiter. We're going to commit our new font. We're going to update our cutscene scene. Our game scene always seems to change, but doesn't have any changes. Actually, I found out why the game keeps wanting to commit. It's because it's something to do with the line endings changing from LF to CRLF. So I just keep discarding it. Don't know if that's a good idea or not, but it doesn't seem to make any difference. Oh, I'd recommend you close the editor before doing anything like that. There we go. Cutscene. So we've added 4 new custom signals: finished title fade, finished narration fade, finished transition, and halfway through the transition. We didn't use that halfway through transition, did we? So I don't want to leave leftover code there. I'll forget about it next. I'll forget about it by tomorrow, and it will just sit there for the rest of time. So no more transition halfway. Let's check our game script, make sure we've got nothing there either. Okay. Yep, it's all good. Quit, commit. So we updated the cutscene scripts to include end transition and titles. Push that. So what was that? An hour and a half. So where are we up to now? I'd like to actually keep a little tracker on the screen, see where we're at, but we're doing about 1.5 hours of development a day. We've done 24 days now, so that's 36 hours in. We can move around, we can play dialogue, we can interact with objects, we can add verbs to objects, we can do quite a lot. So I reckon another couple of days on the cutscene system, and we will have quite a lot of our elements in place. And if anyone else wants to create a game using this engine, then I'm more than happy to share the code base and you can have a play around with it. What we ultimately want to do is allow people to create whatever game they want out of the system. So we're starting off with a sci-fi game. Auditions are Saturday, And thanks for joining us. Great to see you on the feed. Thanks for joining me, Graham. And have a great night.